Just so you know, I beat you once and I'm going to do it again.
You did. It was an off day.
What? I thought you were going to say something else.
No.
No?
Mitch
Like
fucking birding 4 out of 5 holes.
Like I'm never going to do it again?
No.
That's great. Hey, what's up, everybody?
We're going now.
We're going.
Oh, okay.
We're live, dude.
All right.
We're on set.
All right, I'm in.
Yeah, we're on set. Ready?
I'm ready.
Awesome. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy, Rich Gibbens, here with one of my best friends, Chad Focht. Pleasure
brother.
having you, brother. So, what's going on in your world, my man?
Oh, man. It's a good one.
It's freaking amazing,
it's a
bro.
good one, yeah. Man, the last year's been a little nuts. Last couple of years, I should say.
Yeah.
But no, things are going good, man. Business is good. Personal life is good. Kids are doing good.
What's been the biggest advocate for you personally in all these amazing changes you have? I've watched you, dude, over the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Just shred pounds,
Yeah.
right? Start a new business,
Yeah.
which you're kicking butt at,
Yeah.
in your relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot.
What's leading this
dude.
life, bro?
Man, I gotta say, like, first thing has been my relationship with God.
Amen.
Like, that's steered me the right way. I think sometimes, if you're spiritual at all, it's like you go in a direction, and sometimes when bad shit happens to you, you tend to turn your back on that. And over the last couple of years, I was watching my pastor, and he was preaching about that, and he was saying, just you're gonna get knocked down, things are gonna happen, right? You're gonna be on the ground, just don't turn your back. Mm-hmm. And he illustrated on the stage, and I was like, dude, what am I doing, right? And so that's been, I'd say, the biggest thing. And then when it comes to my health, that was, how do I be the best version of myself, right? Because when you don't love yourself and you're not pouring into yourself, like, how do you give to other people in your life, right? Like, how do you be this loving, caring guy that just doesn't give a shit about himself?
You can't
right?
pour from an empty cup.
Can't pour from an empty cup, right? And so
what do you do to fill your cup?
for me, man, it's been a process, right? Everyone thinks like, oh, I can just change. I can, whether it's, mental, physically, whatever. And it's not. It's a process, right? And you just have to embrace that process and just get after it. And you're going to have times where you fall off the wagon a little bit, whatever that might be. But it's like, you just don't let that compound on itself, right? Like, one of my favorite books is Atomic Habits, which Bobby turned me on to.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're going to have lapses, right? Whether it's your diet, it doesn't matter what it is, right? Just don't keep falling off. Like, don't let those days stack on each other, right? So it's like, you have a day, it's like, all right, cool, let's regroup and get back after it, right?
Dude, I had one of those days on Tuesday. Yeah, I had one of those days on Tuesday. I was like, I'm worn out, right? And so I just tucked away, chilled out. I took care of what I needed to, and then I was like, all right, I'm just going to give myself that mental break real quick. There's a lot of pressure. I'm not a father yet. Probably in the next 2 or 3 years or so. I know you have some amazing kids. You have an amazing relationship.
Yeah.
You're an amazing friend, right? So what do you do to fill your cup?
Man, I think when I'm thinking about it, I think a lot of it, when I think back over the last couple of years, it's been time alone, which sounds like weird maybe, but it's like having that time alone to really think about what's going on, to plan, to go through your emotions, experience that stuff, right? Like really look at it all. And for me, just spending time in prayer too, and just really focusing on what I have to do. But I think, being alone was probably one of the best things that ever happened to me. It's like when you're going through it, it's super tough, right? It's like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, this sucks.
Right.
It's Friday night. I'm doing nothing, right? But it really turned into, it was like, okay, I'm not going to sit here on the couch and do nothing, right? So I started walking a lot. I started spending more time in the gym, more time reading, right? Like using that time to really like pour into myself, right? And then you got stuff, hanging out with your boys, golfing.
Losing to Rich at golf.
Did happen one time. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I really
played really good that day.
I was pretty darn good.
Yeah.
Tied
40-foot putts and
tied my best score at 89.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It was pretty good. But what I've experienced over the last several years is we don't know what we don't know, right? And so how do we find out what we don't know? And in a crowded place, in a lot of noise and a lot of distraction, we can't learn anything. We can't find any new space to entertain ourselves or be ourselves, right?
Yeah.
We're showing up for other people. We gotta turn the lights on for others.
Yeah.
Right? We gotta show up, put a smile on no matter what's going through.
Yeah.
And you're not really dealing with anything. You're masking it with behavior because you're like, oh, I have to socialize at this moment. So everything I'm thinking and feeling about, I can't even be honest with myself.
Yeah.
Right? And I've noticed in those times when cold, dark, alone, you're crying sometimes, or you're writing, or you're trying to manifest better behavior or whatever. Yeah. And it's always, it seems so daunting at times where it's just, man, how do I move this boulder out of the way?
Yeah.
1 inch at a time.
That's it. It's slow, man. It's like everyone thinks it's like super fast. Like, I'm going to knock this out in 3 months. It's like, no, you're not.
No, it's going to take 3 years. And when you look back, the time is fast.
It is. Especially as we get older.
Right.
It's it moves way faster than it did when we were like 10.
So today's December 5th, right? Yesterday, 13 years ago, I got out of active duty.
Does it seem like yesterday?
Yesterday, dude.
Yeah.
I told Allie this morning, I was like, hey, thanks for noticing 13 years out of active duty. She's like, what do you mean? I didn't know when you got out. I was just giving her grief. But it's like that 13 years. I want
a balloon and some flowers and stuff.
Treat me right.
Congratulations.
13 years, bro. And then I think about 13 years. And I remember where I was at when I was 13. Right?
Oh, yeah.
First getting into juvenile hall. Right? Down in El Centro. Getting in fights, bro. And it's like, that guy at 13, that was 13 years of my life.
Yeah.
I'm 13 years now removed from active duty military.
Yeah.
Right? I'm like, what have I done? Right? And now 8 years of it, I wasted, right, in my addiction. I wasted just over 8 years, right? And then now I'm looking.
I don't know. I wouldn't call it a waste.
No, I learned a ton.
Right. And you wouldn't be the man that you are today without going through the pain of that 8 years, right?
Totally true.
It's like we have to shift
You see what I just did?
mindset.
You see what I just did? What everybody does. I wasted that time. I learned a boatload.
Yeah.
I learned a boatload from that time. I know what not to do.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
There's two ways to look at it. You could say, oh, hey, I want to go this way. This looks good. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I just experienced all this. I never want to go back.
Yeah.
Right? So people run from pain or run towards pleasure, and most people run from pain.
Yeah.
So what are you running from?
Yeah. Me?
You like how I did that?
Thanks for going deep there. I still run from pain, man. It's, when I think because it goes, whether it's business, whether it's your relationship, whether it's your physical self, right? When I think of all those, it is pain that I'm still running from, right? If I think about, my relationship, right? It's like, I don't ever want to go back to who I was and the way that I talked, the way, I was so jaded from my marriage, right? That I'm like, I'm not paying someone else's bills, right? Like I'm not posting you. I'm not doing that stuff. But what does it do to the other person, man? Mm-hmm. Like I'm now bringing my own pain into that relationship, right?
Right.
And instead of being soft and caring, I'm not, right? Or I should say I wasn't, right? So I'm not pouring into that person, right? Like, and really, I do want to take care of her. I want to take care of everybody, right? Like, but my mindset back then was different. And so, and then you go to the physical part. It's like, you knew me when I was fat as fuck, right? It's like,
just so everybody knows, man, how much did you weigh at your heaviest?
a solid little 327.4.
And what are you now?
Like 246, 248.
80 pounds.
Yeah.
That's a 10-year-old.
Basically, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Or a couple toddlers.
Yeah.
And it's like a couple kindergartners.
Right.
Yeah. It's
yeah, and you look amazing, dude. I saw your post with JR, right?
Thanks,
and I took a screenshot, sent it to our group chat. I was like, dude, Chad is jacked, man.
Yeah, it was a process.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, they get stuck on, some kind of like instant weight loss, right? Like, I'm going to do no carbs. I'm going to lose all this weight in a month or two and be done. And it's not. It's like, if you're a fat guy or a fat girl and you want to lose 50 pounds, if you just lose the weight, you're just going to look like a skinnier version of your fat self.
Ooh.
Right? You're not changing your body. You're not doing a recomposition, right? So it's like, how do you do that? Like, you have to work out. You have to lift weights. You have to, especially at my age, right? I'm 46. After 40, they say like 1% a year, you start losing muscle mass. And that, it's like, if you let that continue and you're not constantly trying to reverse that in some way, you're going to be the guy that's like in the old people home that can't walk and can't tie shoes and can't do basic stuff, right?
So feeling the pain from that weight and who
it's like, I'm never going back.
Right.
Because I know who I was then, right? I didn't love myself, which then meant I couldn't, it's like a ripple effect, right? It flows downhill and it's affects everybody around you, right? You're not the best partner. You're not the best father. You're not the best friend. Like, how do you pour into people when you don't even love yourself? You don't give a shit, right? Because you're like, I suck.
Something that I just experienced at Tony Robbins, Unleash the Power Within. If you've got a kid and they're growing up, what are you going to tell them, right? They're learning how to walk and they fall down. You're like, you should just lay there. You're just going to fall down again. You don't say that to a kid.
No.
Right?
You're like, get up, shake it off.
And going into our adult years, somewhere when you start thinking a little different, your teenage years or stuff, something hurts you. And it's not just the hand on the fire, hand on the stove. It's something a little deeper, something you feel a little deeper. You're like, I don't want to do that again, right?
Yeah.
And it's just because you didn't take time to learn it, right? If you did that as a toddler, or if you're... What I'm trying to say here, basically, is we all have self-talk. Yeah. And most people right now are just so encapsulated. They're in their own head that's saying, I can't open this business.
Limiting beliefs,
I can't ask this girl out. I can't ask this boy out. Or I can't do this. I can't do that.
Or it's too hard.
It's going
to take too much time.
It's scary. Nobody's done that before.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that's kind of everything.
Everything. Yeah.
Nobody ever did a podcast until somebody did a podcast.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, how are you talking to yourself? Right?
100%.
And back in those days, man, how were you? You know what I mean? Like, people, I wish I could put that in everybody's brain.
Yeah.
You would never tell a kid that. You would never tell your own son or daughter that. Yeah. Why are you treating yourself like a really abusive parent?
That's a good way to put it, man. It's, I think part of it it's learned from a young age, right? My parents were great. Like, I love my parents, but like, as you know, like I didn't have my dad. He left when I was, 3-4 years old. Didn't meet him again until I was, I think, 37. So you don't have that mentorship. And I think a lot of it is like, my parents had me when they were still kids, right? They're 20 years old. You don't know your ass from the hole in the ground when you're 20. Some do. They're ultra mature. I wasn't. I know my parents weren't, right?
One percenters.
Yeah. So it's like you're using what you were taught at a young age, right? So if they're not pouring into you and they're not uplifting you and teaching you and holding you accountable and having structure and all that stuff, right? Like, you're not going to have it when you're older.
Right.
Right? So I think it's like it's all learned. It's like, you're better at it, I think, when you're younger, but then as you get older, it's like you're on your own.
Something happens and you're just getting your own head, getting your own way.
Yeah.
And this world is built
That's
for
life
opportunity.
experiences, right? It's failures, it's heartbreak, it's all these things that happen to you when you're an adult, right? And then it ultimately, I think it, it's been where I'm going with that is I think it's hugely important to have an amazing circle around you, right? Even over the last couple of years, like to have you and Mitch and Bobby around me has been like the most amazing thing. I'm gonna get emotional.
Good.
Fuck.
It's
Because those
blessing.
were super hard times, right? So when you have like the people around you who are not letting you dive into a hole, they're not letting you, right? Because you're in constant contact with them. They're not going in a hole, right? And we're constantly uplifting each other. It's like, it's pretty hard to stay there.
Right.
Like, you can get there for a couple days, but it's like, then you're like, oh, okay. You know what I'm saying? So having that support around you, and I think it's hugely important as we become adults and we get older to have that circle, those people around you that are uplifting to you, right? That aren't putting you down. Or, I think back to like when I moved into this business, right? It's like everybody told me that I was crazy. Everybody told me, what are you doing? Why are you leaving such a good job in lending, right? You've been doing this for 20 years. Why would you do this now? Because I believe in myself.
The door open.
Right? And it's like, if I would have listened to all those outside voices, right? And I think even back to when the market crashed in 2007, 2008, everybody again, you should get a state job. You should go get a regular job. I was like, fuck that.
Right.
Like, no, I'm not. Right? And so the same thing applies as I switch careers. It's like having those people around you to encourage you and not have the people around you that are negative. And I don't think they're meaning to be negative.
It's safety.
I think that their mindset is just different, right? People, and we always say like the W-2 world is the golden handcuffs, right? Benefits, stability, right? All this stuff, right? But you're going in, you're clocking in, you're taking your 15-minute break, you're taking your half-hour lunch or your hour lunch, you're taking your another 15-minute break, and then you're done by 5 and you're done. But it doesn't matter how hard you work, how much effort you put, right? You still get paid the exact same.
Mediocrity.
Right? But most people, depending how we're wired, makes us like that, right? It's like that's what's comfortable to us, right? And being uncomfortable is how we grow, right? So
Right.
I've learned that anytime I'm uncomfortable, just lean into it.
Going back to a kid, right?
Yeah.
Back to being a kid. I started doing backflips off swings when I was like 4.
That sounds smart.
5. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't have any fear of that whatsoever. I saw my cousin do it. I was like, I'm going to do that. I fell, hurt myself. I never broke a bone. I had friends that broke
I broke
arms.
my arm doing the same thing.
See?
Off a swing.
And then eventually you learn
Those
how to do
old
it.
A-frame swings.
Yeah.
They had the bar going across.
Yep.
I was like, oh, I'm going to do a flip off this.
We had
Stupid.
one of the city parks in Corning had these giant swings. Man, I think, don't quote me on this, I think they're like 10 to 15 feet. Pretty big swings, right? And it's like, holy smokes, we were flying as kids, right?
Oh, yeah.
I learned how to do backflips off those.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
launch off them?
Just launch,
Yeah.
right? We'd go on the merry-go-round, and we'd be hanging on the end, and whoever was spinning it would just watch out while one of us is riding.
Did you ever have one of those? They were, I remember it was a metal pole. It had these chains hanging off with a handle on the end. And it had 6 or 7 of these hanging off, right? And you would run around holding these things, the group of you, until you're all off the ground.
Right.
Swinging.
Everybody's running together.
Oh, dude, that was awesome.
Yeah. At some point, we get this fear that we can't do it.
Well, now I think somebody got a lawsuit because I don't see those things.
Well, not
That was
those,
the
but
best freaking toy ever. Man.
going state
But
job,
yeah.
whatever. I'm not trying to pick on anybody with a W-2 or anything like that. Like, if that's your thing, that's
Then
your
go for it.
thing.
Yeah.
But if there's something driving you,
Yeah.
I say go. What's the worst? What's the worst that could happen? Yeah. You learn, and then you do it again, and you get better.
Yeah.
And then you figure
fail.
it out, right?
And you go after it again.
Just like walking.
Yeah.
Just like walking, man. I left a job where I was making about $150 a year on the check, and $16 an hour going to my retirement, full bennies, all this stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't tell my dad for about 6 months until I realized, like, hey, I'm really good at this, right?
Yeah.
I told my mom, told my brother, right? I said, don't tell dad. And
Don't
tell dad, because I knew what I was going to get.
Yeah.
Well, when I finally told him about 6-7 months in, he's like, well, you need to get your ass back there pulling wire. Like, what are you doing? And he's a retired correctional officer, right?
Yeah.
And this is my adoptive dad. And I'm like, Dad, I love you. No, I'm not doing what you tell me because I believe in myself.
Yeah.
Right. Now, if it came to fruition that I sucked or something like that, all I would do is jump on a team or figure something out. And what happened is,
back on the horse, man. Do it again.
What happened was I walked into an opportunity to run a team and learn leadership.
Yeah.
Because I took a chance.
You killed it.
Right.
Yeah.
Now we're doing our own thing and like, hey, I'm rocking this way.
It's an evolution of it.
You know what I mean?
It's like constant growth. I mean, that's one thing I admire about you, right? I think back to like a few years ago, and specifically the weekend in Tahoe.
I love that weekend, bro. I was going to bring it up too.
Weekend,
it was
right?
amazing. Well, we really
Which was also the weekend that also flipped my career.
Right.
Right. But I think back to who we were a few years ago. Dude, you are not the same guy.
And neither are
like
you.
Not even remotely close. Mm-hmm. Right. I won't even talk about the shenanigans that happened that weekend, but like not even the same guy at all. Whether it's in your actions, your words, I mean, none of it. It's like, it's amazing to see, dude. It's like, and I know that you're not stopping either. You're hungry for it. Keep getting after it. Like that's amazing.
When you talked about our peer group, our guys, how we've started the Breakfast of Champions.
Yes,
we're
our first one.
We did our first one. We got our second one tomorrow, which won't be a breakfast. It'll be a workout. But we start every other Friday morning.
I'm sure we're going to eat something.
Oh, yeah, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. But just calling it Breakfast of Champions, champions, we're like, all right, cool. Labeling it that, just writing that in. Just like, hey, peer group breakfast, or hey, let's just have breakfast, or let's just do this. No, Breakfast of Champions.
Yeah.
Right? When I see that on the calendar, I'm like, I'm locked in, bro. And I look forward to it. I'm like, how can I show up better than I did last time?
Yeah.
What can I bring to the table?
Yeah.
Right? And we brought a lot on our first one. We brought a lot. Right?
I'd say you really brought a lot. Like, you're the one who spearheaded it. I was like, I got this idea. What do you guys think about this? We're like, yeah, I'm in. Everybody's like, yeah, I'm in.
Shout out Tony Robbins, man. I said, I went to Unleash the Power Within, and we started talking about that. I'm like, dude, I already have my guys.
Yeah.
Right? I've got you guys. I've got Gavin. I know JR rocks. Like, all the people around me are all great men.
Yes.
All great men. Yeah. And it helps me be a great man.
It does.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just incredible. And it goes back. I didn't know that I call it Breakfast of Champions, or we'd agree to that or something like that, or even think about a peer group or anything like that till this. But when I'm at that event and Tony's talking about it, I was like, I already have it. We're wasting time.
Wasting time.
Wasting energy. We have fun. We go golf. But every time we're on the golf course, I don't really talk about business.
No, we don't.
Bobby,
like little bits here and there.
So now we're identifying.
Mitch and Bobby.
They do.
They do.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah,
you and I are like, we're here to dick off.
Yeah, 100%. Now it's like, okay, well, how do we bring our goals, our mission in life to even golf?
And it's a great form of accountability too, right? Like, you don't want to be the guy that like puts all his shit out there to your closest buddies, and then you're like, I'm a loser. Right. Didn't do any of it.
We all have a shared notes app with our goals on it.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
It's
like everybody knows
right?
What's up. Yeah.
And I was saying all this last year, man, you just, for the audience here and everything, it's like, sit at the right table. And if you don't have it, go build it. Go find those people, right? Yeah. And by happenstance, here we all are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think it's really
it was already built, really, right? It's like, now we're just structuring it to where we're more purposeful with our time.
When we're together.
And we still will go play golf and dick off and go have drinks together or dinner or whatever. But it's like that time specifically dialed into our business, right? And it's like, what were the categories again?
So we have our family, we have our health, We didn't include faith yet. I'm not going to name names just yet on why, but we didn't go into a spirituality aspect, but I think that's important.
That's a good idea.
But growth, family, fitness, we'll bring faith in business, right? And like, all right, cool. So my goal, attacking all of it. And it's incremental steps, right? It's like, all right, cool. So Mitch wants to get to...
We settled down on quarterly.
Right.
Right? It's like
quarterly goals.
Get after it quarterly and then...
see what's up.
Reassess and then set new ones.
Right.
And then just and continue to build on that.
Right. And if you fall short, okay, cool. Well, you have the next quarter, get it. But at least we're tracking. And we're going to know every 2 weeks when we do it.
Oh, yeah.
When we have our Breakfast of Champions. Boom.
Yeah.
Let's rock, baby.
No,
you know what I mean?
I'm super pumped about it. I'm glad you put that together. It's going to be...
We already had it, dude. That's the crazy part is we already had it. We were already kind of tiptoeing around it.
Yeah.
We just dove in on the deep end.
And now just, like I said, just get super intentional.
I'm fired up for tomorrow.
Right? I know, so am I.
Fired up, dude. We're going to go work out.
What are we talking about anyways?
I don't know. We're going to do a workout and figure it out.
Yeah, okay.
Right? It's not fully structured. We're just going to have fun.
That's true. We are.
It's also to say,
we still are guys.
Right. What steps have you taken in the last 2 weeks to get where you want to go? I'll tell you this, man. So I ran John's business for the last, 3.5 years. I left in May, and I'm having my best my best half of a year ever. And I'm going into my first year solo, like first full real year solo. I have my team around me. I have Gavin, Espy, Kayla, Megan, Nicole, and then our title officers and all that stuff, right? And it's like, all right, cool. What are we doing next, right? So, like I said, my goal next year is 36. I want to help 36 families, right?
Yeah.
And that's not a lot. It's 3 a month.
That's still a lot.
That's 3 a month. How do I do that in 30 hours a week? Because that's what I said.
Yeah, I remember you saying
right?
that.
And I'm going to do
Cut those work hours down.
Yeah, cut the work hours down, dude. It's about a life by design, right? And so by March 31st, I'm already going to know by assessing with you guys, hey, Rich, how many hours did you work?
Yeah.
Right? Okay, cool. Break that down for us, please. Right? I've already built out my calendar, at least for January for the most part. But now the next 2 weeks, I'm going to focus on writing down all my goals for next year. I've already written them down in my 401 on a spreadsheet, but I'm going to spend time with myself and write them. I'm going to spend an hour or two writing down exactly what I want to do, how I'm going to do it. And one of those things includes a virtual assistant. Now, all the people that support me right now are contracted, right? Per deal.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to bring on an employee, right? I'm bringing on a VA.
Scary.
I just don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's like, so I'm working with my coaches on that. All right, cool. One of my coaches with MAPS coaching with Keller Williams here, right? She's like, all right, cool. She's contracted with Cyberbacker and all that stuff. I think she might have some ownership in it. We haven't really gone down that far, but she's like, hey, I want to be a part of this because I want to show you what I do. She does 150 to 200 units in Ohio.
That's gangster.
Right? And she's got over 30 coaching clients. And she has a family and has time for all of it.
Yeah.
So what does that share with you and I?
She's a master delegator.
She knows how to operate business.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't know how many businesses she does own, but I know it's probably more than 4. Right? Just from our dialogue over the last year and a half. Right?
Yeah,
It's like, okay, well, this woman is incredibly intelligent, and she knows how to delegate and how to get what she wants. I can absolutely learn from that.
100%.
And just so every man listening hears what I just said, a woman is teaching me how to do this, right?
Yeah.
It's not based on sex or anything like that.
No,
it is
merit, man.
It's merit 100%, right?
Yeah.
I know we have some chauvinists out there, and it's like, dude, shut up. You know what I mean?
For
you
real.
can learn from everybody.
Everybody.
From a 4-year-old that's structuring a sentence that actually hits you hard, right? Because you've had one as a parent, right? To a 98-year-old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you can learn from everybody.
Every person you come in contact with, you can learn something from, right? That's why, as you and I, we talk politics all the time, right?
Right.
It's like, you don't have to get angry. You don't have to get, like, I'm not saying you do, but
no.
Some people get very angry. They're like so passionate. They're not even willing to listen to the other side. It's like, if you hear each other out and you talk through it, you might learn something or hear something that makes sense from the other point of view, and vice versa, right? Where you're like, oh, I never looked at it that way.
So 1 Corinthians chapter 12 talks about the congregation of a church, right? And the analogy is with the body, right? I'm gonna bring this. I'm gonna wrap this around. You'll see. So if the eyes can't say to the feet that they're worthless, right? It's all part of the body. It's all part of the collective, right? And we're all humans here, right? And with that, we were given 2 ears to hear, 2 eyes to see, and 1 mouth.
Yeah.
So you should be listening
More than you're talking.
and observing far more than you speak.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is what you just said. You might learn something.
Yeah.
Right? You don't have to agree. Like I say, observe, don't absorb, unless it's something worth absorption.
Yeah.
Right? Listen.
100%. Yeah.
Right? And that's the thing about community. We wear politics now, not we, but we see this across across social media for sure.
Yep.
Right? Is that we wear politics like a freaking team jersey. And not that person 3,000 miles away, we're in California, so it's 3,000 miles away from the White House, right?
Yeah.
They don't care. They don't, dude. Like, the people you vote for don't really care about you. They don't. And that's why local politics is the most important piece, right?
Because they're your voice.
They're your voice.
Yeah.
They're your voice.
That's a republic, man.
Right.
Yeah.
I love our conversations about politics.
so
I love when
awesome.
we're off on different subjects and we're like, oh, I never even thought about that. But guess what? It's not just politics. It's about sports. It's about family.
Everything.
It's about God. It's about what we
And you're a Niner fan, dude. That's like...
And you're a Rams fan. And Bobby and I were both at the NFC Championship game where Jaquaski Tart dropped the pick and then they just gave you guys the win. Of course they did.
I think we kind of took it from you. I'm just saying, a little Aaron Donald action. That's.
I digress. Being a Niner fan's tough.
We did win the Super Bowl that year.
Right, you were gifted.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Congratulations.
I think it was slightly rigged, and I'm okay with that.
Right. I'm sure you are, dude. I'm on the opposite side of the rigging because we watched the Super Bowl last year where not one holding penalty was called, not one false start.
They're all from Mahomes,
I know.
It's bullshit.
I know, dude.
Yeah. Taylor Swift.
Pfizer.
It's like, yeah.
Right?
Let's all get behind them.
Yeah.
They do say that there's like in the contract, I guess I was reading this somewhere, that the NFL is for entertainment purposes only.
Well, it's a nonprofit.
It's the same language that they use in the WWE.
Right.
Right? It's like...
I never got down with the whole rigging thing. I have some friends that are like flat earthers. They're off on the NFL is completely rigged. Right? They're so far gone. Like there's no
I don't think it's fully rigged because I think the guys that devote their life to that and put their bodies through that, they're like, fuck this.
So here's what happens.
They're going after it. I think the refs play a little.
Here's what happened.
Like you said, no holding calls.
We just saw Mahomes. We just saw them win a game on a false start penalty that they changed the penalty so the fumble counted.
Yeah.
Right?
Like that's irritating.
Yeah.
I know.
It's irritating.
Dude. NFL. I still love it though.
Still love it.
I think it's like the best game. It's like a physical form of chess.
It is the absolute best game.
Right?
Best game.
I
love football. So I grew up playing football. I first knew how to play chess. First learned how to play chess when I was 4 with my grandpa on my mom's side. And first it was learning how the back pieces move, right? Work through the queen, all that stuff. And then really how pawns actually move. And the only way you can take out another player, right, with the pawn is going diagonal. So at first I started doing the straight on thing with my brother. Then we figured it out a few months in and all that stuff. And learning how to win a game within 6 moves and all this stuff, right? Football is just like chess.
It is.
It's just like chess.
Totally is.
There's a reason why
I don't think a lot of people realize like how much mental stuff goes in, like the strategy, like the value of the quarterback, changing the plays based on the defense and what he's seeing.
Right.
It's like, it's unbelievable. Or the receiver having an option to do 2 different routes based on what he's seeing and then hoping
The
I don't know that the quarterback is seeing the same thing, because the quarterback has to be on the same page without them talking about it, just based on what they say.
And to compliment Mahomes, he has Travis Kelce, who is world class at that.
Yeah, he is.
Right?
Yeah.
He is the absolute best is finding those pockets inside the defense and getting, 4 or 5 yard dump, and then he can run, another set.
Yeah, he's an unbelievable player. As much as we get irritated.
All the other stuff aside, is still immaculate to watch, right?
Yeah.
And people need to know that their life should be something outstanding and immaculate to watch.
Yeah.
You never want, I refuse.
So true, man.
I refuse. Yeah. I made a video before about I will not die with the song in me unsung. Right? It will not say on my gravestone. It will not say on my gravestone, oh, he had an opportunity to sing and never did.
Yeah.
Right? We're going to share everything we freaking can. Right? And we're going to go. That's it. There's no holds bar. What's holding me back? Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And if people hear that and put that in their own head, just like you have, right? At one point, you hit your lowest point.
Yeah.
And you said, nope.
Not happening.
Not going that way, right?
One of the things on that subject, too, before I lose my train of thought and what you're talking about, one of the things that super changed me was I had written out and visualized what does the best version of myself look like. How does he treat people? How does he walk in the world? How does he talk? I still do cuss a little too much. I want to get rid of that, but it's a process.
We'll put it on the goals.
Yeah.
I'll show you how.
I'll do that. How does he walk in the world? How does he dress? How does he carry himself? How does he eat? Right? How does he treat his kids? How does he treat his partner? How does he operate? Right? And I wrote that all out, and then every decision that I make is, what would that guy do? Right? Would he mow down that in and out right now? Knowing there's a goal and what we're trying to accomplish? No, he wouldn't. Would he mow down the cookies? No. Would he talk to his partner that way? No. What are the things that he would do? Right? That's been a super game changer for me.
No one's going to pick this up on the camera. I felt your energy shift just now. When you talk about who Chad is in 5 years, right? Who he is in 5 months, your energy shifted when you started talking about who you are, right? And so I've dealt with it. You've dealt with it. Everybody out there in the world's dealt with the imposter syndrome.
It's evil, man.
It's evil. And not only that, it's fake. It's
totally
fake, dude.
Yeah.
The imposter syndrome is the imposter.
Yeah.
When you choose, right? When you choose, say, I don't cuss anymore, and you slip up, that doesn't mean you still cuss. You cussed.
Yeah.
Right?
We're still human,
You're
right?
still human. You're going to make mistakes. There's one person ever walked this earth.
It's only one, man.
Only one.
Yeah.
And so you want to put, obviously he's on a pedestal. You want to put yourself next to that?
Yeah.
No, I want to do everything I can to emulate that.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not Jesus. You're not Jesus. It's okay.
Yeah.
We'll scrape our knee, right?
Yeah.
We'll have to put soap in our mouth if we cuss. That's not what I did. That's not what I did to quit. But that's imposter syndrome is the imposter, right?
Yeah.
I have so many friends. 2 of my friends just hit 1 year. One hit 1 year sober. I think it was October 15th or 16th, somewhere around there. Maybe it was the first. And another one just hit 1 year sober on Thanksgiving.
That's awesome.
Right? Just completely. No weed, no drugs, no alcohol, no nothing.
Yep.
And it's beautiful. It's beautiful to watch. And they will talk about it, and they'll share, man, you know what? I took my son over here and to grab lunch, and we sat in the bar area, and people were drinking margaritas and beer, and I wanted one. And they feel guilt on that. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them for feeling guilt, but you know what they didn't do?
Let's pick it up.
Pick it up.
Yeah.
Right? If they did, all it does is reset the clock.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? One of my friends doesn't want to go to the bachelor. Well, he hasn't committed or not committed to going to the bachelor party. right? And he's like, hey, man, I just didn't chime in the text because I don't know. I'm going to talk to my sponsor and do all this. And I said, hey, bro, first of all, my brother's sober. And then one of my other buddies doesn't drink at all, right? Just so you know, my group isn't based on drinking.
Well, I think the other part of the group and all of us is that knowing that, we're going to support that. Mm-hmm. Like, we're not going to sit there and be like, have a drink with us. Don't be a pussy. Like, we're not going to say those things, right? We're going to encourage
the exact opposite.
Yes.
What goal do you have? We're going to help you.
Yeah.
Right? And if you touch one, I'm smacking it out of your hands, bro. I'm not going to be the one responsible for you drinking.
Yes, all the way.
Sit at the right freaking table.
Yes.
If you're not, put your chair and go find the freaking table where people support you.
Yeah, those guys I do see their point in the sense that it's the temptation.
Totally.
Of having it around and having the FOMO of like missing out or that they're not going to have as much fun. But they will, because we're crazy and we'll make them have fun.
We're going to have a bunch of golf, live music.
Like,
it's going to be awesome. However, if he chooses not to, I told him, if you go, you're not going to be forced. And there's other sober people that are going to be there. And if you don't go, that doesn't take away from you standing by me on my special day.
Yeah.
Those are the people you want in your world.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally.
Your choice is your choice, and I'm not going to condemn you either way as long as it's the right one for you. Now, if it's a bad choice, right? And he's like, no, I'm just going to go. And he goes off the deep end over here. I'm not going to tolerate that as a friend. I'm going to say, hey, buddy.
Like, what are you doing?
Let's have a talk.
Yeah.
Come on.
I think that's like genuine friendships like that are amazing in the sense that you do hold each other accountable, right? You don't let them do those things. I shouldn't say not let them, but you don't.
You encourage what they want.
The opposite.
You encourage what they want.
Yeah.
I think it's really important to have great people around you that want your goals, not theirs. Yeah. Not your friend zone, your own, and have them support you. Right? And like I said, like, sit at the right freaking table. If it's not the right table, get up, push a chair, go build the table, go find the table, go somewhere else. It's not wrong to love people from a distance.
No,
it's not. Right? It's totally not.
No, I think it's like, depending on how ambitious your goals are or what you're trying to do, right? Like, let's say that, hypothetically, you're trying to make $1 million. And you go tell a buddy that who makes, say, $75,000 a year, $100,000 a year. He's probably going to think you're slightly crazy. Mm-hmm. Or that's too hard because of their own limiting beliefs, the own imposter syndrome that they have, right? How are you going to do that? Right? But when you surround yourself with people, they don't necessarily have to be doing that, but the people that encourage that, right? That want to see you do that. Even if they themselves are not doing it, or maybe it's not their goal, right? I believe everybody, has a different version of their best. I'm listening. Right? I think someone who I respect a ton is obviously Bobby. 100%. Like, that dude's best is, and this might be my own imposter syndrome kicking in, but my best isn't his best.
It doesn't have to be.
And it doesn't have to be, and I'm okay with that, right? But that dude's best is like another level.
Right.
Like, he's so intentional and disciplined and consistent, right? It's like, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay with but I want to see him. I want to see that dude go make like $5 million, $10 million a year, because I think that's the guy.
10 million's next.
Right?
10 million.
Like, that's a guy, and I want to see it happen.
I remember.
Like, I think that would be like the most badass thing ever, to see one of your boys go do something like that, right?
And that's why we all get along, right? Say my goal, right? My next year goal is 36 units. It puts me on my average about 615, right? I'm just shooting for 500. Cool. I can knock that out, right? Like, that's the goal. My parents have never made that much. My uncle was the first millionaire in our family, and he's no longer a millionaire at this moment due to personal stuff. But he showed me his able to be accomplished from a Gibbens, right?
Yeah.
And it's also not being in competition to strive to be the best version of you.
Yeah.
But if my best version is 500,000, right? And Bobby, who's going to be the best man at my wedding, his best version is 50 million a year.
Yeah.
There's no animosity. You cheer him on, dude. You want to see him. If that's your get down,
are we going to make him pay for golf sometimes?
Yeah, 100%.
Yes.
Actually, we won't have to make him.
He'll just do it.
Yes,
he will, dude. He will.
Bobby is one of the
giving ass dudes ever,
right? And
yeah.
That's
totally.
That's the people, man. I do believe, like, hopefully somebody's hearing this that really can resonate with this or really learn from this. If your friends are nickel and diamond over a bill at a restaurant, get different friends. Unless it's already stated, hey, me and my spouse, or I'm going to pay for this before going in, right?
Yeah.
Or, hey, you guys.
And I do get that, right? Like, people go through struggles, and it's like, hey, man, I can't go.
I know of people that, like, they'll get the check and be like, oh, what exactly did you get? What exactly?
You know what I hate? My soda was $3.99. My meal was $17.55.
I just prefer to be around better people.
And then they add it up, and then that's what they give.
And
like,
no,
hey, bro,
no
there's
gratuity.
a thing called tax.
Tax and gratuity.
I'm like, come on, man.
Right.
I'm about to split the bill.
Yeah.
There's 4 guys, split it 4 ways.
Right.
I don't care if you had 2 more drinks.
Right. It'll all come back around.
It all comes
and
back
that's
around,
where
dude.
that's where we talk about the love of money is the root of all evil, where it's called greed.
Yeah.
Right? And not to just get all biblical and everything like that. If you smell dog crap, it's probably dog crap, dude.
Sure.
And you know if you step in dog crap or you step in cat crap,
immediately.
it's a different smell, right? And so, but if you step in it, you know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's disgusting.
Man. And if you're that person, I hope you grow. I hope you grow.
Yeah.
Because the law of reciprocity teaches us that whatever goes around comes around. And if you're going to be like that, this is what I talk about too, man. Something else was, if you're complaining about the people in your world behind their back,
it's probably a problem.
You're probably the problem.
For sure.
If you're complaining about everybody in your circle behind everybody in your circle, you're likely the problem.
For sure.
I know somebody just listened to that. It's like, wait, what? Me?
Am I?
Yeah, you.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get your shit together.
Right. Like, really think about it. Because what you're putting out in the world is what you're going to receive. And if you continue to talk negative about people, you are that. You are that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? People fall short. We all suck sometimes. You know what I mean? We all go through
humans,
stuff.
Man. Like, that's part of it. Like,
dude, we get into it every now and then. You know what I mean? Like, who cares? Water off the duck's back. You know what I mean? And I just really hope people understand, like, the way you're perceiving everybody else is how people are going to perceive you.
Yeah.
Right?
That's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Rich dropping deep shit right now.
God is good, baby.
Yeah, it is.
God is good. So let's talk about it, dude. We've got Breakfast of Champions now.
Yeah.
Right? What's next for you in 2025? We've seen you personally. Like, I've personally seen you. Gavin's personally seen you. Bobby and Mitch have personally seen you.
Yeah.
Right? What's the biggest thing you want to accomplish in 2025? And why?
Oh, man. Rich didn't prepare me with any of these questions, so I'm going to put a little thought into it. 2025. I want to... Oh, man, this is crazy. I don't even know if I should throw it out there, but...
Send it.
Send it.
If it's a secret or a surprise, don't send it.
No, it's not. My intentions are well known. I want to get engaged.
Just not at my wedding.
Not at your wedding. Yeah. I want her to know that I love her. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want her to know and feel that and know that I'm in, 100%. that's on like the relationship side. I want to continue to build deeper, stronger relationships with my daughters, the people around me. You know, to me, the most important thing in life is your relationships. It's not the money or business. Obviously, there's goals around that, right? But to me, it's the relationships. It's something I learned, you know, early in my career. I worked constantly. I was known to be a workaholic, always on my phone. I really focus now on being present in the moment, right? If I'm out at dinner, you're not going to see me on the phone. If we're at a family gathering, you're not going to see me on the phone, right? That's more important than the money, right? Those relationships are the most important thing, right? As far as like monetary stuff or, you know, business, I want to continue to grow my business. I want to add a team member. My youngest daughter just enrolled in community college her senior year. She's going to finish her last semester in high school and at the same time start at the community college to get a real estate license, business classes. She's taking like 4 classes.
Jeez.
So I'm like, you little gangster.
That's awesome.
So clearly I have to step up. So she has a role within the business, right? So how do I continue to build that and then create opportunities for others? You know, one thing, you know, within my own business when I first set out on this was, how do I create opportunity for the people around me that I love and care about? Whether it's family, friends, doesn't matter, right? But how do I create that opportunity, right? I think back to like when I first came into this business, Bobby gave me that opportunity. I wasn't his family, right? He poured into me in that Tahoe trip, right? Which all started with Afton asking me a question, right? If you could do anything, what would you do? If money and time and education, none of that matters.
She's so good, bro.
Yeah, she's a freaking pain in the ass. Afton, I love you.
She's my sister from another mister.
That question like uprooted everything.
Right.
Because at first I'm like, oh, I'd fly airplanes. And then a few hours later, I was like, if I did that, I actually wouldn't have any freedom. I'd be on the road all the time. I wouldn't be around the people that I love, right? I wouldn't do that. I'd want to flip houses. I'd want to get into the different side of real estate that I've always wanted to do, but never had the balls to do it. And then that led to a phone call with Bobby later that week. And then it led to a lunch, which then led to a 3-hour lunch and visiting a house that ultimately we bought and sold, right? So it was like, that one question literally changed everything, right? And what a blessing, man. It was.
Afton's incredible, man.
She is, man.
Yeah.
She's a phenomenal human being, dude.
Yeah.
We love you, Afton.
We do.
Yeah.
Let's go, baby.
So yeah, you know, one thing I realized is, you know, like I was saying, the relationship part of it, right? It's like being a workaholic, focusing on your business only. Like I lost a lot because of that. And the same thing of fear, right? I'm never going back to that.
And you almost lost it again.
Almost lost it again. Yeah. And
congratulations on recognizing a pattern and saying,
and breaking it.
The buck stops here.
Yeah.
Right? Knowing how you grew up, knowing how I grew up. We both made a decision to not grow up, not to raise kids that way, not to be those people, right? Yeah. And just like you, I've done it to people before where I just burn them, right?
Yeah.
Unintentionally. Like it's not like, hey, I choose to break this girl's heart.
Yeah.
And I did. I'm getting married to one.
Yeah, I'm so freaking happy for
right?
you, dude.
2 weeks into it, I knew where she was at, and I wasn't there. And I told her, I was actually very honest. I said, hey, just so you know, I don't want anything serious. We met in 2018, dude. It's 2024, and I just got engaged earlier this year. You know what I mean?
You guys live together now?
Yeah. We're rock, dude.
It's freaking awesome, dude.
She's my rock. But congratulations to you, right, for recognizing that pattern and saying no.
Well, you know what? I think I was telling somebody this. It's like, well, like, how did you recognize that, or how did you change the behavior or the actions, right? And one of the things that was huge, and I think this is why a lot of people don't change, is that it really fucking sucks to look in the mirror at yourself and see you for who you are in that moment, and then work on fixing those things and acknowledging it, right? Mm-hmm. It's painful. It's painful. It's demoralizing. It's so many things. And that's why most people don't, because they're not willing to take accountability, look in the mirror, and get shit right.
You got me
it's right.
lighting up right now. I know you can see it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if it's your behavior or you're condoning the behavior. It's you.
Totally.
Whether it's you doing the thing
yeah.
or condoning the thing, yeah. It's you. You can't blame somebody else for their actions.
No.
You are responsible.
And I used to do that, bro. Dude. It was like, well, you did this. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to act out in this really fucked up way.
Yep.
Because my feelings are hurt. Or I feel a certain way, right? Like, what the fuck is that?
If you talk to John, right? Yeah, you're good, dude. Say whatever you want. If you talk to John, he'll tell you he learned really quick with me. And this is just a blessing from God. I didn't try to do this. I've never intentionally done it. Like, hey, this is the problem, right? It's just always who I've been, right?
Yeah.
It's always who I've been. You could do anything you want to be. I allowed that. I did that.
Yeah.
And people will say, no, it's totally me. I just had an incident earlier where my agent doesn't show up for a final walkthrough.
Yeah.
Right?
Hey, you handle that like a pro, by the way.
It's not his fault. Of course, his actions led to this.
Yeah.
I trusted.
Yeah.
Right? Without setting stipulations.
Which is still, I mean,
that's for not laying the guideline and the boundary.
What the standard is.
Well, now I have two choices to make. Let it end or correct behavior. Those are my only two choices. Yeah, and he told me to lay into him. And I said, no.
Yeah.
I was worried about your safety.
I learned this from a mentor of mine a while ago, and when you're making that correction, right? It's like you can go to somebody and say, hey, you effed up, you did this, whatever, and lay into them. That's not going to get them to move, right? Like, how do you get them to move the needle the opposite way, right? So he called it a correction sandwich. So you lead with something positive, right? Mm-hmm. Hey, man, I love what you've been doing. I love the effort. I know that you're working at night. I know you're doing all these other things and you're tired. I get that, right? Mm-hmm. But what happened the other day cannot happen again. It makes me look bad. It makes you look like an idiot, right? It's bad to the client. It's poor customer service, whatever you're going to say, right? Mm-hmm. So what I want to see from you is the same effort what you've been doing and not make that same mistake twice. We're all going to make mistakes. That's okay as long as we learn from them and don't continue to make them, right? So you're starting with something positive, you're making the correction, and then you're ending it again with positive reinforcement, right? And letting them know that you believe in them. I think, as leaders, when we have a team or we have people around us, we want people to run through a wall for us. Mm-hmm. Just like we'd run through a wall for them.
Right.
I'm not saying it's one way. Like anybody's on my squad, like, bro, I'll throw down.
Right.
I don't care. If I love you and I care about you.
We've seen that recently.
Let's go, right?
Not in a physical,
not in a physical way, but I will I
have your back.
We're getting after it. Yeah, I got your back. So it's like, and you want the people that are around you to also do the same thing, but you're not going to get that behavior or that attitude from them if you're down on them, right? If you're just always correcting them, if you're always doing it in a negative way and you're being a freaking shithead, right? It's like, how do you do that in a positive way? How would you want it to be done to yourself?
Right.
You already feel bad about it. We don't need to grind that in, right? We don't need to reinforce the imposter syndrome. I'm a piece of shit. I'm lazy. I'm irresponsible. Dude, you made a mistake.
Right.
Like, how do we turn that and get that mindset out of them?
Right.
Right.
What does that mistake cost? Right. Is it a learning experience forever where it's, hey, break ties? Or is it?
No.
It depends on the nature of it, right? I'm not saying this this particular case we're talking about is. I'm just saying, as a leader, you have to think about that. Is this person reliable? Is this a mistake? Is there opportunity for it again? Like, where does this action lie?
Yeah.
What's the severity of the issue? Is everything okay? Cool. All right. Like you said, I haven't seen this before. This is an action. Here's my line in the sand.
And I think it also goes back to, like, we're still responsible for it.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything
it's my business.
Is there anything that you need help with that I can help you with?
Right. Why did we set this time? Why was this time set?
Yeah.
And why couldn't you make it?
Yeah. Like,
right.
What could we? This goes to relationships too, right? It's not like you. What can you do different? What can we do different, man?
Just like in your partnership, right, with Elena.
Yeah.
Right. How are we going to handle tough situations?
100%.
How are we going to make, if the end goal is this, right? Yeah. Forever. If the end goal is forever, what backstops are we going to put into place so it never goes back to how it was before?
And I think that's also, that's a process too, right? Because you have learned behavior and you have, the way that you react emotionally, right? And I was, thanks to Mitch, I ended up reading, it's Emotional Intelligence
2.0, baby.
Yeah.
That's...
And it's, when you are conscious of it and you identify a behavior or what you're doing or how you react or how you speak, when you're conscious of that and you purposely go in a different direction and handle it differently, it's not just fixed then, it's repetitive behavior to where the pathways start to form differently. And then after a period of time, you don't even revert back to the other way. You just do it the new way. Mm-hmm. Right? So if your thing is like you yell, right? Well, if you're in a position where you'd normally yell and you're conscious of it and you stop it, you talk calmly and gently, and you do that over and over again, pretty soon that is the norm. So we're back.
He beat me to it. That's awesome. We're back. What I wanted to do was share with everybody here. I actually had this book by my bedside table, and I wanted to share my scores with you. And before I share my scores...
Can I see them?
Yeah. Before we share it publicly here, right? On my self-awareness, you're one of my best friends on the planet. On my self-awareness, right? You've read this book. You've done everything. Yeah. Where would you think my score would be? What I'm going to do is I want to hear what you would rate me, and I'm going to let you know what I rated after we go through all four. After we go through all four.
Self-awareness, when did you take the test?
April 1st, 2024. This year, April 1st.
Okay. Self-awareness, I would put like, an 85 to a 95.
Right. Okay. And then with my self-management skills.
Wait, time out. What was the score?
No. We're going to let you, I'm going to let you guess.
And then you're going to go.
And then I'm going to go through them all, because if I give you, whether you're right, wrong, or indifferent, if I give you one, you'll get the rest, right? So for self-awareness...
No, I'll give you an honest answer.
You as my friend would...
Tell me what the fucking score
I will, after we get
I want to hear the first one. Because they're going to get lost.
This is the funniest podcast I've done. This is amazing.
Come on, tell me
what I stated was we're going to go through all four. You're going to rate me, and then I'm going to read off my scores for each one.
Okay. Are you going to post them like on the screen so
we can do that.
Okay. So because they got to be able to remember.
Self-awareness, you said
85 to 95. Yeah.
All right, cool.
I'll give you a range.
Right. Exactly. And then a self-management.
Self-management. Like a low 80s.
Okay. Social awareness.
I would do the same. I think you're pretty aware. Mm-hmm. Like you can read people and you're good at that.
And then last one, relationship management.
I would say the old version of you, like a 50.
We're talking about April 1st.
I know. Yeah.
Not 3 years ago, this year.
No, I think same thing. I would say, 85. I'm going to go with 85.
I'm going to hand you the book on the page with my scores here. Actually, R.I.P. Rudy. Keep that picture in this book. I'm going to have you read my scores out.
Oh, okay. Well, I like that. Oh, Jesus.
So my friend rates me really high, right? This is the importance of a book like this, is to actually take note of where you're at and how you can improve.
Yeah.
So why don't you share with him what
So as of
actual
April
scores
1st, 2024, right? Self-awareness, 65.
and you rated 85 to 95.
Yeah, just so you guys know, that is a freaking,
That's a bad score.
right? It's like a D. You're failing. People at work are going to tell that you can't control yourself. Self-management, 63. Social awareness, 70. Relationship management, 67.
Right. So these are honest scores.
No, and so that was my point. Remember I was telling you that I had some thoughts on that? Mm-hmm. My scores are very similar to that. Mm-hmm. Same range, 60s, 70s, right? I think we're also, and this is a good thing, I think we're truly honest about our questions or our answers, and we're hypercritical of where we're at, right?
Totally.
So it's like, I really want to know what my real score is. I don't want some bullshit because I'm like, well, I can be here sometimes. No, I'm going to give like what the real thing is. And and talking to JR yesterday on his podcast, we're talking about handicap. Have you ever been accused of cheating playing golf? Hell no.
Only when you guys didn't see me, and then I dropped an 89. And only Bobby was the one that said,
I did not cheat.
right.
What I hate is sandbaggers, right? Guys that, and you can go both ways in golf, right? You can only post your good scores because you have the ego of, I want a really low handicap, which absolutely fucks you later when you go to bet with somebody and you're competing with them, right? But then you have the guys that only post their high scores, or they add strokes to the score because they want the high handicap. So when they go into a match, right, they're getting all the strokes. Fucking cheaters.
Right.
So my point in that is, even on a handicap, right, and in a score like this, we want to be honest where we're at, so we can self-assess the right way, right, and measure it.
The only way to go forward in life, like you said earlier, you have to look in the mirror
Yep.
and paint a very clear picture. Exactly what's going on. Not what happens on occasion.
Yeah.
What's the majority?
Yeah.
And those scores are honest about that, right? I love how you relate it to golf, and hopefully other people can understand what you're meaning by that. But on this book, it's like, well, why are they like that? And the truth of the matter is not evolving, not growing. This was this year, so I was just before I turned 35. So I did this when I was 34, and this is where I thought,
you're a youngster.
I thought I had things figured out, and then you take this book and you do the assessment. You say, okay, well, son of a gun, I got a lot of improvement, and you pick your lowest score and start there.
Yep.
Slow incremental steps. They don't have to be slow, but they have to be small.
They tell you not to work on multiple at the same time, right?
Like,
work on one.
I read the self-management 4 times before going on to the self-awareness, before moving forward.
Yeah.
Want to rehash it. And I'll go back through this book, as you can see where I'm at here, right? Like, just pick it up and read, oh, okay, what are these actions? And it's wonderful that they give you examples, right?
Oh, yeah.
And walk you through, oh, this person does this.
The
this is how
techniques
they
and things to work on.
right?
Yeah.
And they're high-level people.
Yeah.
But how do other people perceive them? Right? And so when we go back through our conversation earlier, it's like, we might think we're awesome, or we might think we suck. The truth is somewhere in there, right? But it's never exactly what it is.
No.
Right? And you have the opportunity to choose what you want to do. When you're at your lowest point, you spent time alone.
Yeah.
Right? No distractions, right? And this doesn't mean, a month, 6 months, a year of hiatus. Like, I'm not talking to anybody. I'm just doing it. No, you start with 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Let me just think.
Right.
Let me just think about what's going on. And you find yourself, well, for me, at least, it was like I found myself in like, wait, I like these thoughts.
Yeah.
Something's changing in here for me to understand and conceptualize.
Yeah.
Okay, well, where have I been? What have I done? Why am I like that? Right? And we're all allowed to be who we are.
Yeah.
The why behind how you're reacting is totally coherent. It's acceptable. It's understandable. When you understand that it's not the right behavior, it's not the right way to lead. It's not the right way to be a partner, a father, a mother, a friend. When you acknowledge that, then you say, okay, well, what step am I going to take next?
Yeah. And I think it's just the first step is just acknowledging it, right?
That's all you got to do.
And being self-aware of it. And you're right. You don't have to spend, it's not like you have to take 6 months by yourself and not talk to anybody. But I think if you take, for me, it was daily, right? So it was like taking an hour a day of just being in my own thoughts, right? When you're around other people, let's say you're super social and you're just always around other people. Well, your decisions aren't for you because other people around you are influencing those decisions. Not that they're necessarily bad, but they're not totally selfish. I don't necessarily want to eat dinner here. I feel like a taco. But because it's like, maybe it's steak, you're like, yeah, I'll go there. You're not doing what you want to do, right? And so I'm using a super basic example there, but it's like, as you go through that and you spend that time alone to process those thoughts and think about those things, you can't really get to everything, like to the core of it, until you spend that time alone, right? You acknowledge those feelings and you start thinking about, like, how is my body reacting? How am I thinking? Like,
I'm going to ask you
really
one question. I'm going to ask you one question.
Yeah.
Who knows you, other than God, who knows you better than you?
Ooh, better than me.
I have your answer. No one.
Yeah.
No one. That's the answer.
Yeah, nobody does.
So
you're totally right, because I'm sitting here, I was stumped.
Right. No one knows you, other than God, knows you better than you.
No.
And
there are people that know, when I think about, let's use my relationship as an example, right? She knows the worst about me, the best about me, right? There's nothing off the table as far as what I've ever done, like none of that. So she's getting, like, she knows me and all my flaws and all my shit, right? Which is also a beautiful thing. It also sucks sometimes because then there's trust issues there, right? Where you're like, Chad, it's like, no, I swear, right? Like you still battle that, and that takes time, right? Because you can't, your words are one thing, it's your actions that are repeatable over a period of time.
The patterns.
Consistency showing, like, hey, like, I love you, right? It's not reacting in a certain way. Or, for me, like, one of the biggest things is I've never been a romantic person. Ever.
The real Chad is.
Starting to be.
You've been romantic in a non-homosexual way. You've been romantic with us friends. You very much care.
For sure, yeah.
Very endearing. It's breaking through, and I hope everybody hears this. It's breaking through the barriers.
God, I've never even looked at it like that. So yeah, you're right.
Dude, you're an amazing human, bro. And I'm not just saying that to say that.
I appreciate that.
Right? You are a romantic when you open up and allow trust to be there. There's no way Mitch, Bobby, or myself, or Gavin, or anybody could hurt you the way your significant other can.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so just like me, you'll put your guard up and you'll be like, no, it's down.
It's really not.
Lies, bro.
Yeah.
Right? And
100%.
We all do it because that fear of potential rejection of someone we love dearly, especially with someone like you. Your dad wasn't around.
Yeah.
My dad was up until a certain age, but we never saw eye to eye, right?
Yeah.
And my mom chose meth over us, right? I still have a relationship with her today, right?
Yeah.
I have a great relationship with my father, but you put those guardrails on someone you can't lose. And then you'll lose them.
And then you lose them. Yeah.
right? There's
I never even looked at it like that. Like that's the true, your true self, right? And it's fear, and you're having those guardrails up when you shouldn't. And I'm finding now, I still battle it, right?
Oh yeah.
But because I'm conscious of it, it's totally, I want to do things to make her feel special. I want to do things that, so she knows I love her, that I care about her, that, you know, all those things, right? So I find myself, you know, like writing sticky notes. I think I told you.
Yeah.
Writing sticky notes.
Put them in her bag.
Yeah,
Put them in
hide
the
them in
book.
the car.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So she gets them later, right? And it's like, I don't do them every day because I think that's like too much. It's like, come on, man. Like,
Leave
sprinkling
surprises,
them in
man.
here and there. And then what I found lately is like, how do I anticipate what her needs are? Right? Like, how do I, in her life, how do I, you know, try to make her life easier in some way? Right? Is that like having a glass of wine for her when she gets home? Is that, you know, making sure that the kitchen's cleaned up before we cook dinner? It's little things, right? It's like, is it doing her laundry for her? Because she's running around all day. I have a little bit more freedom where I can do things. So it's like, how do I do those things to make her life a little bit easier? Right? Which is something I never, ever, ever thought of before. I never thought, how could I make this person's life better or make her day a little bit easier? Right?
Welcome to freedom.
Yeah.
Knowing that you want to do that for somebody is true freedom. Whether you get hurt or not.
Who cares?
Who cares? You know you're capable.
It doesn't matter. And I've told her this too, right? It's like, hey, I just don't, I'm going to walk a certain way and I don't really give a shit what happens. Like, I just don't care. Right? I mean, you care in a sense, like you want it to be reciprocated in some kind of way, but I'm not doing it because of that. I'm doing it because I want you to know, and I want you to feel a certain way, and I want you to, you know, I want your life to be better and easier because I'm in it. I don't want it to be, I'm the reason for it. Like, I think in relationships, it's like, you want to improve the person, bring something to the table, right? And so that's, you know, that's why I do it. And I feel like I'm getting better at it. It's still, sometimes think creatively and, you know what I'm saying? Like, but I feel like I'm more in tune with it now than I ever have been because I've never, ever been like that.
You've broken the mold, baby. I'm so proud of you, brother. I love you so much. I'm excited for this next year. And let's rock on, baby. We'll have you on again soon, yeah?
I look forward to it, man.
All right. Love you, brother.
I love you too.